for staying with the Monday Report Social Distancing Town Hall. And Colonel Cyrus Oguna is with me, he's the government spokesperson. Colonel, earlier on you're speaking about people adhering to the rules that have been given by the government. As late as this evening, PSVs were still carrying more than the recommended number. You said a 14-seater should carry about 8 people. They still do the full 14. What are you doing to ensure that they stay with the regulations that have been given?
Say that again, Trevor, I didn't pick it.
So the PSV operators who you instructed to ensure that the numbers are low are still carrying excess passengers right now as we speak. Late as this evening, they were still carrying the 14 number and you had said that they need to carry 8. What are you doing to ensure that they actually adhere to the regulations that the government has stipulated?
Thank you very much, Trevor. We have police who are trying to ensure that that advisory is enforced.
Yeah.
The most important thing here is for the passengers themselves, the commuters, to be disciplined. If a vehicle is already carrying 8 people, why would you want to be the 9th person to get onto that vehicle? Indeed, some of these things are matters of discipline, and we expect our people to be disciplined enough to be able to make those independent judgment without necessarily looking for the police to be able to enforce them. You know, they require to be self-regulated.
Yeah.
If it's already, backed beyond 8 people or beyond, 16 people that has been given out, then I don't have to get onto that vehicle. So really, the number one, requirement is for Kenyans to be our people to be disciplined, to be able to ensure that when an advisory is issued, they must be respected without looking at the police to be able to enforce them at all times.
Do we have a plan for the old and the people who are sort of the ones who are most vulnerable at home, because people are still moving from the city to the rural areas? How are we protecting the old folks who are in the upcountry?
It goes back to the same thing, Trevor, that discipline is number one priority in this thing. You must be able to put discipline ahead. And the government has provided various advisories that people must be able to abide by in order to be able to flatten our curve. So if we are not disciplined enough, like the CS did mention yesterday, if we continue to behave normally, this disease will treat us abnormally. And that is the truth about this. And therefore, the onus is on all of us to be able to behave in accordance with what the government is actually saying. That those advisories that are being issued, that we must be able to maintain a social distance of at least 1 meter, that we must be able to wash our hands, that we must be able to undertake self-quarantine. We must be able to obey those. If we do not do that, then of course the worst may happen to us as a society.
Okay. Colonel, there are many people who are sending in questions. I want to play some of them so that you can respond in real time. Let's play a question for Colonel now.
I'm Trevor Opondo from Embakasi. A plane landed with 239 passengers. We were told that they are supposed to be quarantined at a government facility. Where are they? Were they traced? There is complete silence from the government. Nobody is saying anything.
Colonel, did you hear that?
Hello, yes, a plane landed with so many passengers.
239 to be specific, from China.
Yes, at government facilities, we have, everybody who is coming into the country is supposed to go and quarantine at their own cost. Those facilities are there. Of course, we did mention that yesterday there was a bit of a mix-up, but those mix-ups have been flattened out. We have been able to streamline, and moving forward, we have sufficient facility to be able to quarantine everybody who is coming in the country. But of course, we're giving them a choice. Those who are not willing to be in government, facilities are allowed to go into hotels, but at their own cost. Hotels that the government has entered into an agreement with, not just any hotel.
So, but that is another question he was wondering. He was wondering about the 239 passengers who came on the China airline plane sometimes back. He said that the passengers are supposed to be tracked, but there's total silence. How many have been tracked? Where are they?
When those passengers came in from with that Southern China airline, all of them were screened. And there is no indication that any of them had the virus. And therefore, it's not necessarily appropriate to go back there when we have got no evidence that any of the passengers who came on that plane, had the coronavirus. Indeed, anyone, like I did mention, who came on that plane and underwent mandatory screening at JKA. But also, we're too confident from the fact that on the other end, before they boarded, they had been subjected to screening. And again, when they landed here, they were subjected again through our own mandatory screening. And therefore, we cannot look back and say that, because this plane came into our land, and therefore they're the ones that, those people who came on that plane are the ones who might have led us to where we are today. Indeed, we are also aware that the cases that we're dealing with, none of them came on that plane.
All right. Colonel, I'm slightly losing your focus. Just move your camera slightly lower. And then there's another question that is being asked by our viewers. Let's listen to what the question is.
My name is Mlombi Anwar from Embu Town. What measures has the government put in place in the transport section concerning the hiking of prices that we are currently seeing happening in many parts or almost all parts of the country? Thank you.
So the question is concerning the hiking of fare prices.
Yes, this is again something that Waziri did talk about today. We have been able to notice that there are some unscrupulous operators in the matatu industry that are taking advantage of the situation that we are in currently. Of course, we are aware that previously they were carrying 14 people in the normal matatus. Now they are carrying 8, and therefore, according to them, they are losing out. But these are not normal times. These are times that we must be able, as a people, to rally together, to support one another. It's not a time when we should be looking at making abnormal profit, when other people are like, we already know maybe not earning at all. And therefore, we are appealing to matatu operators and everybody else who is a businessman out there, not to be able to take advantage of the current situation that we are in as a country. Should need be, then the government will have to step in.
Colonel, that is an appeal.
To them because they are also our brothers and sisters to be able to appreciate the situation that we are in right now.
Colonel, you're making an appeal, but they seem to be defying that appeal. Are you going to enforce this because Kenyans are still paying more?
Should it come to that, then the government will have to step in. But as of now, we are appealing to them because we also understand that they are also paying loans, and we're also talking with the banks to be able to understand that whatever they were earning, they may not be earning the same amount of money. So it is a whole chain that we are trying to appeal to be able to be more considerate and to understand that the situation that we are in right now is not a normal situation.
All right, let's bring in another question here for Colonel, people are sending in their questions.
Coronavirus is real. It is not a drill. Why is the government not giving an order for a total lockdown, especially now that Kenyans are not keeping social distancing?
Hello, I didn't hear that. Say that again. I didn't pick it properly.
All right, that's Frederick Okango. He is a former secretary for the party. Let's listen to what he has to say again.
Coronavirus is real. It is not a drill. Why is the government not giving an order for a total lockdown, especially now that Kenyans are not keeping social distancing?
So, Colonel, why aren't we giving an order for a total lockdown?
As far as the advisory regarding social distance is concerned, many Kenyans are obeying that. And because of the idea that many Kenyans are actually right now beginning to realize the seriousness of this, they have demonstrated willingness to obey, and therefore we are appealing to the few ones that are yet to obey to follow the example of others, because that is the only way that we can be able to flatten our curve, that we can be able to break the chain of infections. We may not want to go into a total lockdown right now because it is not necessarily necessary as of now. However, should infections go up, then it might just be among the conspiration that the government might have to make. But as of now, we are happy to note that many people are actually obeying those advisories.
All right. So the other question from a viewer here, Shaki Mudui, says, how many people in this country can actually work from home? What is the plan for those who can't actually do it, like the people who go to the mjengos of this world?
Yes, we understand that not everybody is able to work from home, and we have been able to talk to various employers to ensure that they do not necessarily close down the operations, but are able to organize a relief system whereby they have those that are able to work, maybe let's say from 8 in the morning to 2 p.m. in the afternoon, then another one from 2 p.m. to, let's say, 8 o'clock, and another one. So they have got a whole shift of 24-hour shift to ensure that operations go on. So for those that are not able to go to work from home, then they must be able to continue working where they have been working, but obey the social distance, but also keep observing hygiene and other advisory that the government have been able to issue.
Colonel BT Samuel is saying there was a point where the government released NYS buses when some of the commuters were on strike. Why won't the government provide free public transportation instead of forcing private companies to take up the costs?
We understand that this is a democracy, and democracy requires that everybody who is operating business and being an economy whereby it is a free economy. We don't want to get into a place whereby we clamp down everybody, but we're giving everybody a chance to be able to understand the realities of our times. However, should it get to a point where the government must step in, then the government shall step in. As of now, we are very far from getting there. We don't expect to get there, and therefore we are asking every commuter, every operator to be able to obey and understand that these are not normal times that we expect to behave normally. We must be able to, accept a little bit of profit because under normal circumstances, we'll be getting so much. But because of the times that we are in today, we must be ready to accept less.
All right, Colonel, stay with me. I'm just taking a quick break here. We'll be back with more questions from our people. This is the Monday Town Hall Social Distancing Edition, where Colonel Cyrus Oguna, the government spokesperson, is joining us on Skype. We'll run some of your questions to him as we wind up on this session. See you in just a bit.